Good afternoon, everyone. Can you see my screen? Everything good there?
Yep, that looks great. Thanks, Jan.
Thank you very much. Sorry about that. Anyway, Heather had mentioned earlier in her presentation about sharing information. Uh, a lot of stuff that we've been doing in Ontario outside of the province, and so I just want to share with you the Ontario Phragmites Working Group. Just what we're all about, and perhaps maybe of interest for you in other provinces to start a similar working group. So just really a quick overview of the group. We actually started quite small um, back in December of 2011. At that point, I'd been working in Phragmites for about 6 years, and I'd been running into people throughout the province that were also keen to start doing something about Phragmites, because we had all recognized there was a significant issue and there wasn't apparently too much work going on the landscape at that time. So our very first meeting actually was up in Huron-Kinloss on the shores of Lake Huron in a chamber council meeting. And I said there's only 9 of us. And George Annette from the BASF Chemical Company was there, Crystal Lafranc from the Ontario Ministry of Environment, Mike Fair, who hosted us, Bill McDonald and Nancy Vidler, who were from a community called Port Franks on the shores of Lake Huron. And shortly after this meeting, they formed their Lambton Shores Phragmites Community Group. It's a grassroots group that's well known in Ontario, very, very instrumental in getting a lot of other groups started. Mike Schumer, a scientist with Long Point Waterfowl, which is a research group down in Long Point. Carolyn Alexandra, who at the time was working with the Lake Huron Center for Coastal Conservation, an NGO on that lake. And Jill Crosswaith with Nature Conservancy Canada. So we all met for a day, and you see Mike there at the whiteboard, and we hashed out through a lot of things. I have actually a lot of papers full of information on it. So we came with a mission statement to promote the management of invasive Phragmites in Ontario, and then why? Why did we want to do this? And the rationale still holds today. All those reasons there you see on the screen. And then, how are we going to achieve our mission? What do we need to do? And the strategy is again the same as when we first mentioned it 10 years ago. But what changed from the very first meeting was our name. Initially, it was Phragmites Management Working Group. I had wanted our group to be active on the ground, actually controlling Phragmites, and a few members pulled me back and said, "No, Janice, that's probably not the role for our group." And so it was switched to Working Group. And our mandate basically is promote the effective, efficient, environmentally responsible control of Phragmites in the province, assist with getting the good information out to those people trying to do the work, and trying to educate the public as to why we need to do this work, and then be an advocate for getting the right tools on the ground and getting the support we needed in the province to make this happen. We do have a terms of reference. It's on our website, and we went through a few iterations. So the current version, the latest version of 2017 is there. And basically in that document just states, who we are. We're volunteer. We all operate on our own time, own dime. And basically to, again, provide expertise to those needing the information throughout the province, and to partner wherever we can to help forward these initiatives. We have a very diverse membership, and also advisors. So the advisors are those folks that are in government agencies or wherever that can't really vote or whatnot. But we have a really wide group of really engaged people involved. And we work together to try and get the right information out, because a lot of us are working on the ground and have a lot of great information to share. And every year there's new information coming, and new methods and whatnot. And I will mention that we are actually represented on the Great Lakes Phragmites Collaborative as well. We became a committee under the Ontario Vice Plant Council in 2013. And that was really important for us, because I mentioned we're a volunteer group. So basically just operating, when we have time to get initiatives done. And so becoming a committee under that organization allowed us to get the much needed administrative help. And with that, there was a website created, a logo, assistance with the meetings, such as the one we had on Tuesday. It just wouldn't happen without all that amazing support. but also to the Invasive Plant Council was able to secure funds to create documents, and our group members would then help provide the great information to go into those documents. And here's an example of some of these roadside doc, and these are available for anyone that wants them. They're not just Ontario centric, the information in them. So feel free to go onto the website and grab those, and there's much more information out there as well. So the roadside document, guiding document, the best management practice document, which my co-chair Gabby Nickel wrote with input from lots of people, and then the fact sheet that's just recently come out. I mentioned the advocacy piece, and we had written a lot of letters to mostly the Ontario ministers, but also some federal as well, and the agencies that were relevant for us for Phragmites, like Ministry of Transportation for the highways, Ministry of Environment, Ministry of Natural Resources, are three key ones. And when we would have elections, we would re-educate our local MPPs as well with letters. Another big piece of the advocacy was trying to get the water-safe herbicides for us to use. So we finally, thankfully, thanks to BASF, we have Habitat Aqua. It just became available last year. But many members of our group wrote letters and support. And I can remember the meetings we would have where we'd have representatives from BASF and Monsanto Bayer at the time. And they'd say, geez, like most meetings we go to, we get hammered, you know, because we're a chemical company and all these environmentalists. You guys are upset with us because we don't have a product available for you to use. So it's kind of refreshing because you're really supportive of trying to get those appropriate tools on the landscape for us to use. And then the other advocacy piece is the public awareness, education and awareness campaign, which is ongoing. So our meeting attendance has really grown over the years. On Tuesday, we had over 105 participants and a lot of different groups represented. So I apologize for this really busy slide here, but you can see all of the people from different organizations that join us, from First Nations, not-for-profit, NGOs, grassroots organizations. So those are those really important volunteer groups that are out there in the landscape doing this great work. Conservation authorities, universities, colleges, companies, agencies, and the municipal, provincial, and federal government representation. And also we had some folks joining us from the United States. So really wide, diverse group, and great conversations and input. In our earlier meetings were more about what the group should be doing. And towards the middle and last few years, we started having lots of presentations, learning about who's doing what on the landscape, and certainly the emergency use program was every single year wanted to get updates on what was going on down in Long Point and Rondo, and then other grassroots organizations and for roads and whatnot. So lots of really good information shared at our annual meetings, and anyone is welcome to, when we have these remote meetings using Remo, it's really an amazing platform for sharing information. So if we have it next year, anyone's welcome to join. So that's pretty much a really quick overview of our Ontario Phragmites Working Group. If you want more information, certainly myself or my co-chair Gabby would be happy to share information, or Belinda at the Invasive Plant Council. I would like to give a shout out though to our amazing group of volunteers in Ontario. We are so blessed to have so many people out there working in their backyards, keeping Phragmites out of their coastal wetlands and off their shorelines and whatnot. And without that work, we would be in really dire straits.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Janice. That was fantastic.
You're welcome.